Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike is literally flying on assignment as he's probably landed, like, well, he may have a couple of more hours before he even lands. He's on his way to Paris. Yeah, yeah. Now, I'm trying to figure out how you get a job assignment that takes you to Paris, but hey, that's the man. Some people got it like that. What'd you say, BJ? Sign you up? No doubt. And,
I'll be like if I go to Paris, Georgia, where if that even exists.
Exactly. So you might see some of these guys again this week because he's out literally all week, as I would imagine. I get a chance to go to Paris, work or not. I'm probably going to ship shape for a whole week. With that being said, welcome to episode 188 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab show podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports institutions, large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. And you know, on Sunday, we do that special thing where we bring in the HBCU football analyst. Mike calls him the HBCU guru. That's none other than BJ Jones. We also bring out from the production side of things, AD Drew, who's going to give us some information as he takes up the spot for Mike Washington. Make sure we get into this. We're filming from our home studio, getting it done in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Congratulations to Texas Southern on their homecoming win. Certainly got it done. Feeling much better. We'll see if that translates into next weekend where it gets a little more interesting. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, sponsored by THC Agency, is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, let me not be a bad steward of my time. Let me go to you, Charles. How you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm doing phenomenal, Doc. I mean, yesterday was one of those days. I got my second batch of uh-oh texts. And normally when it's an uh-oh text, that means Miss Momentum is somewhere sitting down somewhere drinking from somebody's water cooler. And I got a text. Radar spotted her exit 81 yesterday, and she found her way over there to Gramblin's bench. So welcome back, Graham fam. Welcome back. Y'all burned up my phone so to the point yesterday I ran out of juice yesterday. So.
No doubt. I guess they can officially get off the ledge.
Oh, yeah. Police negotiators, they can go home. Everybody can go home. Nothing to see here. We closed the window on Graham fam because they were staring out looking at 14-0 early.
BJ Jones, you see that they were out there looking on the ledge like they were going to jump. I saw you told them, take the step back. It's early. It's okay. So How you doing this morning, BJ?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Got a chance to see some good football yesterday, man. And I think Grambling upsetting Alabama A&M was, the cherry on top, man. We saw Albany State, Miles, a good game up in the Hampton Roads area with Norfolk State and Hampton, man. So it was just some great HBCU football across the board yesterday.
Great points, and I can't wait to get a deeper dive in that. We'll do that the second half of the show. We'll take a 15-minute component on there where we'll bring you some newness to the show this Sunday morning, and you can see this going forward. I'm going to try to get some perspectives from coaches. So stick with us. We should have a big surprise. But let me go to AD Drew before we get in there. Was that the second biggest upset or the biggest upset in your mind? Or you may even have it further down in terms of Grambling and Alabama A&M. But before I do that, I just want to say good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. Good morning. I've already got it. I've got it ready here and here. As the first time this year, both my schools won. So after the show, I'm gonna fire this one, field this one.
I like that. That's like slowburnswaco.com, www.slowburnswaco.com. Get your cigars, man. You can't have a season where you don't get a chance to get your trophy cigar. We didn't have trophy classes this weekend, so we added some homecoming. And I like Drew. Drew takes it by the hand. He says anytime is a good time to get a smoke on. So his teams win, he bring it out regardless. Trophy, classic, homecoming. Look, man, I need mine. I get it, Drew. Good point. There you go.
And y'all, Grand fam, y'all need to thank my Golden Tigers of Tuskegee for providing the recipe on how to play and beat Alabama A&M.
Oh,
listen to me. I was at the game last week with Tuskegee gave Alabama A&M a run for their money. The talent difference between the two teams is why A&M survived last week. Some of the same things Tuskegee did against A&M, when you go back and watch the film from last night, was some of the things that Grambling was able to do, except Grambling was successful because they had just that hair more talent from the Division II to the FCS level to beat Alabama A&M. But some of the same things Tuskegee tried to exploit, A&M was successful in exploiting it. Grambling was successful in exploiting it. So just wanted to throw that out there to you.
I see you throw it out there. He said he was excited about his team's winning. He's going to find a way to put him in the mix. Everybody looking kind of crazy at it, but it is what it is. It's his comments. We'll get a chance to dig a little deeper into that, what's going on. Let me see if I can give some of these folks some love that always jumps in here and shows us with the comments coming in early this morning. Folks excited about this Sunday morning. What happened, as BJ Jones said. Jimmy said, congratulations to Valley. Yes, big ups to Valley. That's where we'll get in my slowburnwaco.com. They were the classic game of the week. As I said, there was no classic, so we did the homecoming of the week. And I said, everybody, watch out on this North Carolina Central versus Mississippi Valley State game. It would be an interesting one. And Valley got it done representing for the SWAC. Kudos to Valley when we talk about that in terms of that win there. Great for homecoming. Interesting for North Carolina Central. But I will say this about the MEAC. MEAC had a great Saturday in many ways, and we'll go down that a little bit before we get too far along. Mary Allen says, good morning. Diane Weber's on here. Good Sunday morning.
Oh, Diane.
Diane in here. See what happened when you text beat down somebody, too. Chuck Hunt, Ricky Burton, T. Foster, Karen Griffin, T.U., Jimmy Wilson, and here, as we said, Sarah Beverly, Jerome G. Sutton. His Rattlers won. Did they win the Battle of the Bands at halftime? Find out. That will drop on Thursday this week. We'll give you the update, but I'll give you last week's update. Last Thursday, we were on the road in the Sweet Life 228, so we didn't get to give you that, so we can do that today. Reggie Walston is in the house. Demetria Glenn, Willie Mack, Stephen A. Miller, Z.W. McCormick in here. Oh, boy, they all up in here. Reggie Flood says good morning. Man, that's a great radio show he does every week. Tune in to Reggie Flood if you need your sports talk. He does both the HBCU and overall talking about this sporting scene in New Orleans, and he extends out to that. Great dialogue, great talk. Show him some love. Reggie Flood getting it done. And then he goes off and gets the HBCU podcast. So he's showing up and showing out. Garland Malone in here. William E. Davis, strike again. Edwin Drayden in the house. What's up, Fred? Edwin Drayden down there getting it done. BG, don't get mad. You know, these alphas everywhere. We know how you do it with all this super grade. We ain't gonna hold it against you. With that being said, let me get into this real quick before we get to this break. Get into some more dollars. Let me see if I can get into it just a little bit I promise you, last week I didn't get into the ranking of HBCU sports. I got texts and everybody's like, where are my rankings? They right here. We're going to stick them in to make sure you get it. Top 10 marching sport rankings for the week, as you had the major classic game, which featured Grambling State and Prairie View. So there's a little bit of movement here. I had a team dropping out of the top 5. So we're going to get into that. We'll show you the top 10, but we're going to focus on the top 5 marching sports this weekend. Most teams were off. Kentucky State, mighty marching Reds, had a major upset of Tennessee State the week before last. They stayed at top 5 as they were in the 5 spot. Jumping into the top 5 this week is Prairie View A&M, the marching span, as they defeated Grambling up there in the State Fair Classic. They are 2-0. Both are conference matchups they had. 2 first-place votes. They jumped from previously being 6th into the top 5. Number 3, 2, 1, no changes, heading steady. Jackson State Sonic Boom of the South. They were off a week. Charles is kind of mad. They were actually off, in his opinion, 2 straight weeks when they didn't go down to Delta State. Different discussion there. 2-1, 0-1 overall, 2 first-place votes remain at the 3rd spot. And number 2, Southern, the Human Jukebox, standing steady, 2-0 on the season. They'll get ready as they get into some of their big matchups. They had that matchup coming up this week, as you would know, against Texas Southern in that State Fair Classic in Arlington. That should be interesting in terms of the Ocean of Soul. We'll see who gets off the board on that. FAMU, the Marching 100, remains number 1, 2, 3 first-place votes, 2-0, 90 points. They had that matchup Saturday against Alabama State. Alabama State got a lot of house in that game. Did they pull the upset? Well, listen to us on Thursday. I'll give you the updates in terms of what that looks like. But everybody said they wanted, so I wanted to make sure we tuned that in and got that into you. Before that, let me go ahead and officially give you these scores of the day. Some of y'all got them. Some of y'all want to go in detail. So things started off pretty good for those Prairie View. You know, I got my life membership, National Alumni Association. Make sure you in your National Alumni Association paying your dues. I know most folks that watch on this show, I don't have to say this, but spread the word. Make sure you involve National Alumni Association. I'm in it, life member, both Prairie View A&M and Texas Southern University. Yes, I write checks. We're going to get it done. BJ Jones writes checks. Charles Bishop writes checks. A.D. Drew writes checks. We believe in writing checks. Roy, who's over the whole thing, he certainly writes checks. Not just the FAMU and his alma mater. He writes checks to us, too. We like that. Keep writing them checks, Roy. With that being said, Prairie View A&M 27, Pine Bluff 17. We'll get in a little more discussion this on the second half, but I want to give you these scores. Tuskegee, A.D. Drew talked about this a little bit. They shut out Clark Atlanta 21-0. Central State loses to Allen on homecoming. Allen continues to surprise the world, 46-34. Howard represents the MEAC and get all the kids. They get a big win against Sacred Heart, NSE, Northeast Conference, 22-17. Statement made. I see you, Bison. Get it done. Savannah State creeps back up into the talk as they defeat Kentucky State 21-17. North Carolina A&T does what they're supposed to do in that opening against Big South. Robert Morris, they crush them 41-14. Now, those Aggie fans out there say more to come, Big South. Don't be surprised. Shaw defeats Virginia Union. This was a little bit of upset to me. But Stephen Gaither said not so fast. He told y'all stop listening to him. He said, listen, 27-7. You have Elizabeth City State gets it done over Livingston, 19-13. Florida Memorial, the HBCU, loses to Kaiser, 31-26. South Carolina State holds on to defeat Bethune-Cookman, 42-35. Repping for the MEAC, they finally get off the skids and get their win. Let's see what that means for the rest of the season. They get it done against Bethune-Cookman that stayed winless. You have Morgan State. They lose to St. Francis, 27-14. That game was in Baltimore. Couldn't quite get it done. Lincoln, Missouri, the HBCU loses to Central Oklahoma, 69-28. Grambling with the upset. I know if you hadn't heard this now, you've been asleep. 37-21 over the previous ranked Alabama A&M. We'll ask this question to everybody later in the show. How far does Alabama A&M fall from the number 1 spot? Lane defeats Texas College shutout, puts up 71. Yes, 71-0. Langston shuts out Lyon in a conference game. They continue as they get 2 shutouts in a row. They defeat them 30-0. Texas Southern shuts out North American 69-0. Big homecoming win. You have Fort Valley State drops Benedict 24-14. Bowie State just continues to chug along. It gets what it needs to do. 44-7 over Johnson C. Smith. That shouldn't surprise anyone. Erskine defeats Virginia Lynchburg 59-13. The Battle of the Bay. You have a classic matchup in every sense of the word. Norfolk State gets it done on the road, defeating Hampton 47-44. That game went in overtime. It was a classic. Edward Waters 37, Morehouse 13. Edward Waters is shaping up as they transition in SIAC, get their first SIAC win officially this year. Good job. Mississippi Valley with the homecoming win over North Carolina Central over the MEAC. That's 17-16. Delaware State was trailing early. They get the win and get it done. 33-27. That's another win over Northeast Conference foe. Big win for the MEAC. Statement for the Hornets as people ask questions, but Delaware Storm Hornets says not so fast. We're going to be in the mix. Albany State crushes Miles. Surprise the some. Big statement win 31-3. Get it done in class. Here comes Sirwan outside of the HBCUs. They are in the CIAA. This becomes interesting. Matchup next week against Bowie State. Can they change it? 73-7 over Winston-Salem State. What happened to Winston-Salem State? We're starting to see that game against North Carolina Central. Maybe the reason we see what's going on with Central. FAMU shuts out Alabama State 28-0. They made this game not very interesting, very early, jumping up 21-0. Hold on to get it done, shut out fashion. That defense is for real if y'all hadn't heard it yet in terms of the rallies. Virginia State 33, Augustine 9. Tennessee State 24, Austin Peay 22. Big win in the OVC for Tennessee State Tigers. Watch that game. They held on and got it done. Fayetteville State over Lincoln, Pennsylvania 46-9. And West Virginia over Albertus Broadus 45-13. Dr. Ville's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We'll be right back after this quick break. Coach Morgan in?
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him.
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Let's get back to strolling instead of scrolling. Before we can safely come together, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your family.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com. Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports
Tell everybody
Network.
they can follow their dreams.
This is Dr. Ville inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Yeah, BJ Jones in the house. AD Drew in the house. BJ Jones, as we get into these mid-major classic games of the week, as I said, they're really homecoming games. Didn't have classes this week, and we'll talk about it on the major side. You heard those scores. Anything stood out to you that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Man, game I watched last night on the tablet, Albany State visiting Fairfield, Alabama, Miles College. A lot of people, they thought that this was a preview of the SIAC championship game. Albany State gets it done, but it's the way that they got it done. Limiting Miles to 3 points, 234 total yards of total offense. Man, defensively, Albany State looks lights out, and I think they just made a statement and put everyone in the SIAC on high alert. So it'll be interesting to see how they fare out with Savannah State getting ready to come on the docket and Fort Valley to end the season over there with Albany State. So shout out to the Golden Rams of Albany State and that impressive win over Miles College in Fairfield yesterday.
Oh, it was impressive. I watched it too, and you're right. It was the way they got it done. Man, they just pounded on Miles College. And you always thought, because it was kind of a slow build as they just beat them and kept beating them on and physically attacking them. And you was like, all right, Miles is going to find a way to get something done here, turning on. No, it just kept stretching out, and they just kept making their point. Let's get into this HBCU homecoming mid-major division game of the week. And then as we go through this, we'll let each of you maybe make another statement on the game that you want to get in outside of the ones that we're reviewing. With that, let's go into the SIAC. Allen Yellow Jackets, 3-2 now on the season. We're at Central State Maurauders, who are now 1-4 and 0-1 in the conference race. For their homecoming, the Yellow Jackets defeat Central State 46-34 and make a major statement. I'm not sure what's going on with Allen. After we had that interview with the athletic director, things just start changing around. Let me go to you, AD Drew. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup here? How was Allen able to get it done?
600 yards of offense, Dr. Cavil. That's how Allen got it done. 616 to be exact, including 455 yards passing. I think there's a mistake in the statistics, though, because they have time of possession 47 minutes for Allen and 23 minutes for Central State. That adds up to 70 minutes last time I did elementary math. So I think someone made a mistake with that. But even still, if that's 37-23, not only were they able to pile up the yards, but they dominated the clock also. The only thing that I see that was a negative for Allen, 16 penalties, 414 yards. Have to clean that up if they're going to sustain success in the SIAC.
Great point. Let me shift to you, Charles Bishop. What are your thoughts in terms of this matchup here?
I mean, I think AD touched on it. I mean, you talk about 600 yards of total offense, and Allen has proven themselves to be the I don't know what happened since the interview or whatever the case might be, Doc, but I think you have brought something to this Allen program over there. Good job. Not only did you call Valley, but now you got the Allen Yellow Jackets up and going. But impressive win yesterday over Central State. A couple other games that, I think BJ touched on. That one with Albany State, that was huge over Miles, and I did not see that one coming. I thought Miles would be able to take care of business at home, but ground and pound and defense, that is the name of the game for Albany State. They did what they had to do. And Tuskegee, way to go, Tuskegee Golden Tigers. That was a nice win. Shout out to AD Drew. So Tuskegee with that win over Clark Atlanta, that was big. Fort Valley, Benedict. The shine is coming off Benedict a little bit as well. That was a good win by Fort Valley over Benedict yesterday.
BJ Drew, you talked about the SIAC already, but I'm just thinking about this Eastern Division with whatever Waters did yesterday, Allen, and they're not even full members of the conference. They look like they'll be slotted probably in the East. Somehow somebody else may shift over to the West, but regardless, this is amazing. So you can give me some thoughts on that. As you do that, also talk about the number one Langston Lions, how they just showing up and showing out. Quinton Morgan, the coach there, just has Langston Lions getting it done. Obviously, they're out here in the West, NIA, so they don't get the type of love oftentimes as we see those that are in these full-fledged HBCU conferences, if you'll allow me to use that framework. But in either direction, what are your thoughts on either of those things?
Oh, man, the SIAC, man. Oh, wow, especially that Eastern Division. And we just talked about Albany State. We saw what Fort Valley was able to do yesterday against Benedict. But we all remember that win and how impressive it was to start the year against Tuskegee. Don't forget Savannah State is also in that Eastern Division over there. They're trucking on along, man. That SIAC Eastern Division, it's going to get very interesting over the next couple of weeks. Someone's going to have to shake out of that. I like Albany State to do it, but it is a tough road in the SIAC East. And as far as Langston, Coach Morgan, what he's done at Langston, it seems like every year they're in the playoffs every year they either win the conference or they're runner up in the conference. Outstanding job that the Lions have been on for these last couple of years, and they've been one of the top programs in HBCU football that no one talks about.
Man, point well taken. And just think about this for those that are looking at the East Division of the SIAC. Benedict jumped out of there with some big wins against the West, against the CIAA. They come back home and play the East Division, and all of a sudden they're allowed to drop out of the top 10. They are now 2-3. It's just a madhouse in that Eastern Division. We talked about early, people forgot when we came into this, we talked about how top heavy the CIAA Eastern Division was. Man, we might have to revisit that by midterm. With that being said, let's shift over to some of these major division. Again, we had the homecoming major division games of the week. Let's start out the one we kind of tugged out a little bit. Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils get it done, scored late, kicked the extra point, defeat North Carolina Central Eagles 17-16. North Carolina Central falls to 2-3. Mississippi Valley gets the first win of the season. They improve to 1-3, 0-1 in the conference race. They have a big one coming up. Bethune-Cookman, who's struggling to get a win. That'll be fascinating. It is in Daytona. But when you talk about these matchups, let's stick to this one. What are your thoughts? Sticking with you, BJ Jones, North Carolina Central and Valley. What was all that cracked up to be in your mind?
I will never forget Central right before the half had an opportunity to basically to run the clock out and go to the half. That interception that turned into that pick six that actually tied the game up. Yeah, wow. I mean, just amazing. But you got to give credit to Valley. When they needed to make plays, they made the plays. And we saw this on last Sunday. Mississippi Valley is a physical football team. And you're going to have to be back physical with them. And shout out to Coach Dancy. He had that football team ready to play. I know they were disappointed with last week, but that football team came ready to play, and they beat a North Carolina Central team, and no one gave them the opportunity to beat a North Carolina Central team that started off this season beating Alcorn. So, hey, shout out to Coach Dancy and the Delta Devils of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Charles on this next one. Yeah, Mike got away at the right time, didn't he, Charles?
He got away at the right time. I don't hear that Valley, high pitch boy. I know he's watching right now. I think that was Soignier's pick right before halftime. That was a game changer, and that set things in motion, I think, for that momentum and like when we said this on Thursday, with Valley, if they stay around, you know, that they're going to figure something out. They're going to figure something out. And we've seen that with Valley. They just hang around and they can make things very interesting. And it came up to bite Bethune-Cookman at the end there. You got an extra second on the clock at the end there, and that helped Valley out. I can't say enough about Vince Dancy's team. They are physical, and they're going to play you all 60 minutes. That's what they're going to do.
Is Charles Bishop doing a little forecasting there? He said Bethune-Cookman. I know he meant North Carolina Central. But
I meant North Carolina Central, correct? Yeah, I might be forecasting a little bit. My bad.
No problem. No, I'm just teasing it out of there. Before we go to this break, I did want to get into this Battle of the Bay. Man, this was a classic game in every way of the game. And you talked about Oldham's, BJ Jones. People didn't really understand and listen to you in terms of what you were saying about Oldham's. This was a big win for Oldham's to really set the statement and a mark in terms of that program, just getting off of it. They improved to 3-2. They're number 4 in my ranking and have a chance to move up potentially based on what took place with the upset of Alabama A&M. So we'll see what that looks like coming out Monday or Tuesday. But they're now 3-2. Hampton Pirates 2-2 quietly are showing you that they are a good football team and they should be a problem in the Big South. Nobody really thought about them, but they had every reason to be in this game and jumped out of there and thought they were going to pull away. Norfolk State kept fighting. They went down and scored late to send it in overtime, but they lose 47-44. This Spartan team is special, but I like the Pirates as well. Let me go to AD Drew. What are your thoughts on this game? It was solid.
I'm going to take you a little bit further than this game. The schedule guides in the MEAC must have saw something, because the last SIAC game is Norfolk, South Carolina State.
Oh, yeah.
The two teams that everybody were expected to contend for the title. They will play in November, possibly for the SIAC crown. And would it be fitting if Dawson Odoms is the SIAC winner and comes back and gets an opportunity to face the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl? And right now, let's talk about marketing. What would be the better marketing game for the ESPN and the Celebration Bowl? Norfolk and Dawson Odoms returns to beat maybe even possibly Southern in the Celebration Bowl, or South Carolina State coming in possibly at only 6-5, because that's probably going to be where they're going to wind up at right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting when you're talking about the business side of it, marketing wise. South Carolina State 6-5 potentially coming in there. They do have FAMU, so they can find a way to get to 7-4 if you're not careful. But yeah, Norfolk State, they can come in 8-3, 7-4. It could slip up and get to 6-5. But I know North Carolina Central's out there saying not so fast. Morgan State says, hey, we got some football. We ain't played conference games yet. Watch out. We think we're gonna make a statement. Howard got a big win yesterday. So it's still early. DJ always reminds me of those data points. We're gonna take this break. We'll come back outside of the break. We'll get a little more and finish up on the topic, Norfolk State, Hampton, to see if Charles, BJ wants to make some comments on that. And then we'll get into some of our mid-major and major games of the week. With that, this is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Let's take this quick break. On the other side, we'll get back into a little more talk. Lonnie Shaw says we go out of here. Ennis, Norfolk State will not beat Buddy. And South Carolina State, nope, not this year. I'm not so sure about that. Let's see some little more data points. I think Norfolk State may have something to say. The thing you got to remember in this matchup, this South Carolina State, it's not the same. It's not your daddy South Carolina State in terms of defense. They put up points, but they susceptible on the offense. I mean, on the defensive side, we'll see.
Looks like they take their foot off the brakes in 4 quarters too. So
yeah, you're right. They have some trouble really figuring it out. We'll see. We got a lot more data points, and it should get interesting. But that's why we do it weekly. Stick with us, and we'll make sure we lather you up in it, whatever direction you want to go. Let's come back out of this break and get the second half of this show. We're just getting started.
It's the show where we take you inside the game before the game begins. It's the pregame. With your hosts, Charles Bishop and Neely. So get ready, because we pregame harder than the other show's party. It's the pregame.
That spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Bounty versus the old family dish towel. Drying with a fresh sheet of Bounty leaves your hands cleaner than a used dish towel that can carry and redistribute food residue. So ditch the dish towel for better hand hygiene. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, literally headed to Paris. We have sitting in his spot 80 Drew, and then we have none other than BJ Jones that's going to bring you that HBCU analyst like nothing before. Check him out on Tuesdays, and then he does his own spot later this afternoon. Check him out, man. It's awesome. He gets in there. He always lathers my juices to have me thinking about something I did not think about. With that being said, before we go too much forward back into this Hampton and Norfolk State, I did want to give the official slowburnwaco.com cigar shout out to Mississippi Valley winning that game against North Carolina Central, representing the SWAC homecoming win. Anytime you get a homecoming win, it's always appropriate to light it up. It doesn't have to be the trophy. You light it up with the homecoming win. Or if you're on the road and you defeat somebody for their homecoming, light it up as well. Charles, what you got?
Or if you pull off upsets, Graham fam, this is for you.
That's perfect. I like that. No doubt about it. Let me stick with you, Charles. What are your thoughts on this Norfolk State Hampton matchup as Drew put his fingerprint on it?
Yeah, well, I said going into this game, this was going to be a matchup of two great quarterbacks, and Jet Duffy and Pootie Carter. They did not disappoint when you take a look at the stats they put up. But hats off, and I've said this about Dawson Odom's time and time again. His teams are going to always be ready, and he's bringing that brand of football up there to Norfolk State. I mean, I've just always been impressed through the years watching what he's done at Southern. They are fundamentally sound for the most part in all phases of the game. And now you have Norfolk State on the precipice of really, turning some things around up there in the MEAC. So it's going to be, that was a good out-of-conference win, number one. Doc, we always talk about out-of-conference wins, but I just enjoyed the excitement of the game, 47-44, and things coming down in the overtime. And shout out to the Norfolk State fan base. Coming on across the bay over there, you represent well, and you provided that extra bit of juice that Norfolk State needed toward the end. So shout out to the Norfolk State Spartans.
No, great point. To your point, big wins for me at Howard over Sacred Heart, 22-17. South Carolina State over Bethune-Cookman, 42-35. Norfolk State over Hampton, 47-44. Delaware State over Wagner, 33-27. 4 of their 6 games, they got W's. You had the close loss by North Carolina Central, 17-16 that we just talked about. Morgan State could not get it done. They were at home. St. Francis, Pennsylvania over Morgan State, 27-14. But with that said, let me go back to B.J. Jones and talk about this Norfolk State-Hampton matchup. What were your thoughts on this game?
Oh, man. The piggyback off Charles' quarterback, Jet Duffy, Pootie Carter. Jet Duffy, young man, was kind of bounced around a little bit. Came from Texas Tech, but he is settled in. 370 yards passing, 4 touchdowns yesterday. He did have the 3 interceptions that proved to be costly. But Pootie Carter, preseason Offensive Player of the Year in the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference. People understand why. He put 294 up in the air. He ran for another 92 yards. He had 2 touchdowns passing, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He was everything for Norfolk State. And defensively, when Norfolk State needed to stop, they got it. I know Norfolk fans are probably a little bit upset with the 0 coverage call towards the end of the game, which Hampton took advantage of and scored the touchdown. Jadakiss Bonds is a special receiver for the Hampton Pirates. They go to 0 coverage. He beats it. They score. We go to overtime. As a Southern guy, that gives me 2010 Jackson State vibes. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Charles will know that.
Speaking of 0 coverage, I remember Jackson State, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. So BJ, why do defensive coordinators go 0 coverage when you? Okay, never mind. I digress.
Yeah. So, and also, I want to give another shout out. I don't usually talk about the bands, but this is a talented group. I think a lot of people sleep on the Spartan Legion of Norfolk State.
Yeah, Spartan Legion.
You will be hard pressed. You'll be hard pressed to find a group that sounds as good as them. Oh man, they sound good, man. They sound good. I like the hats.
Oh man. Oh, I love it. Great call, PJ, all the way around. I will sneak this one in here. I know we're focused on a lot of these other teams, FAMU, Jackson State, Alabama A&M. You talk about Alcorn and Southern. The little team over there on the hill sneaking back in there. If they find their way through, I know that's one team that would maybe not, or maybe like they shot at Norfolk State and Oldham in terms of that. That's Prairie View A&M coming off that bye week. Him and Oldham.
That was impressive the way they were able to run the ball at UAPB and just be more physical than them. Prairie View's defense, I think, people are sleeping on Prairie View's defense, but they're a fast, aggressive bunch, and they really got after Skylar Perry.
Yeah, they shut him down. I thought they had improved, but it's interesting. They're a little better even than I thought. At least they made a statement in that game against Pine Bluff. They gave up, 160-some passing yards, and of that, 80 of it was on one pass play for 80-plus yards. So you really think about that. It's unique. The other thing that I know B.J. Jones used to always question in terms of what was going down in the hill was penalties, and it looks like they've shaped that up a little. They only had 5 in that game. That one was kind of crucial. They would have pushed that score out even more before half with a shot clock engagement, which is something that you'll kind of take in general in terms of your offensive line being aggressive. But it was interesting there. Let's shift a little bit as we are going to do this kind of on a speed dial, because we're going to get into that 45-minute break and come back and kind of close out the show in a intriguing fashion. But we have a couple of games. CIAA, SIAC, you had Shaw Bears. To some people, it's an upset over Virginia Union Panthers. Talked about that a little bit in terms of scores. And then obviously we taking a deep dive in Miles and Alabama State, which is the SIAC game. So we will skip over that a little bit. But any thoughts from you, BJ, in terms of Shaw Bears versus Virginia, as they got it done 27-7, dominated Virginia Union in a lot of ways?
Look out. You heard rumblings earlier this week. Talking with Stephen J. Jacob, we talked CIAA talking Wednesday night. You heard rumblings that Shaw, look out. I think Shaw has officially put everyone on notice. So look out for the Bears of Shaw.
And they had that matchup against Fayetteville State. That's a game to watch early on.
Yep.
So they get a chance to really make a statement and kind of put a bear claw on that South Division, if you would. So that's another one. We have the Shawan and Bowie in the North. Look at a big indicator very early, and then Shaw and Fayetteville State, my SIAC CIAA games of the week, probably in terms of picking one of those two off that. Let's get into this one, shifting. We talked about Bethune-Cookman and South Carolina State. So I'm going to move fast past that one so we can get into this Alabama State at FAMU. Defense. Let me say it one more time. Defense. Number 7, Alabama State, 2-2 now on the season, 1-1 in conference play. At number 8, FAMU, 2-2, 1-1. FAMU dominates, at least from a defensive perspective, winning that game 28-0, shutting out Alabama State. I thought FAMU would win the home opener, but not in this fashion. I certainly wouldn't have thought they shut out the Hornets, but that was fascinating to me. Charles, what are your thoughts in terms of this game here?
Isaiah Land, defensive end for FAMU. He brought that heat. Got an opportunity to really watch this front 7 against Jackson State. They are the truth. When you talk about defenses in the SWAC, Florida A&M, Jackson State, they can dictate games, and we saw this early. But more than anything, Florida A&M, they were able to get it done offensively. Very steady hand. Rashawn McKay didn't have that, big turnover or anything of that nature. It was a good game plan, well-called game. And they jumped out on Alabama State, man, that you could ride that defense. And that's a championship-worthy defense. I tell you what, when you can put a few points up on the board and let your defense take you the rest of the way, those are scary teams. So shout out to Florida A&M. That was a big win. Huge crowd yesterday with Alabama State bringing in quite a bit of fans into Tallahassee as well. Old SIAC matchup. But FAMU found a way to get it done. Big win for Florida A&M over Alabama State.
I agree with you in terms of championship level defense for sure for FAMU. Still able to make some plays on offense, and it's a work in progress, but they got it done. B.J. Jones, FAMU, Alabama State. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Oh, man, FAMU defense picking up from Charles, man. The way that they played on yesterday, man, they completely shut Alabama State down. You look at Alabama State, they played 3 quarterbacks yesterday.
Yeah.
It's not a good sign. They got back to running the football down in Tallahassee, 33 carries, 141 yards, 3 touchdowns. So shout out to FAMU, big win on yesterday.
Yes, as we go into this last break, shout out to A.D. Drew. He was on the call with the simulcast last night. Check him out after the game. We go in some details of what that game looks at. So we won't go into it now. We're up against it in terms of the break. But shout out to A.D. Drew. Brian as well in terms of getting the call throughout the game. And then I get a chance to jump on at the end as they do the analysis, man. Great analysis you brought last night, AD Drew. Let's get into this break. This is Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We're going to get into our last break and come back with the fourth quarter as we'll close out strong. Good information. Let's go to the break.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. We have BJ Jones, AD Drew in here, and now we have Langston University football coach, Coach Morgan, bringing in here. Embarking on his fifth year, continues to get it done, won a championship in Central State Football League, leaving that, and then he comes in first ever champion of the Sooner Athletic Conference. Back in 2017, was co-champions of Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Football National Champion. He continues to win, and he's embarking on a magical season, it seems, this year. 2 shutouts, including the one last night, 30-0, Conference foe Lyon. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good, Coach. We know you put in the work. You can let it go a little bit, Coach. You deserve it. I know you're focused. Come on, man. There you go. That looks a little better.
And I'm one that doesn't believe in reading to the press clippings. I still got a lot of season left, and I'm just striving to get better, each and every day.
No doubt about it. We can appreciate that, Coach. You in the grind, but we wanted to make sure we acknowledge it. Langston is getting it done, and they need a little more in terms of people understanding what you're doing over there in Oklahoma, because you have a solid program. We have you number one ranked in our poll. I know you don't get into that, but tell us a couple of players that we need to keep our eyes on as Langston continues to move forward with this season.
Oh, it's multiple players, to be totally honest with you. Pretty sure you guys have seen what our quarterback is doing, Raekwon Washington. And our starting quarterback, Larry Harrington, has just returned as well. This team is really fueled by a lot of freshmen. That's what people don't understand. So it's an exciting team to watch, and we just continue to watch them grow as a team each and every week. And it's been nothing but a pleasure to be around these kids. Defensively wise, Devin DeRusso, who's my preseason All-American, who's been playing lights out so far. He's one of my captains on my defense side of the ball. My 2 safety, Malcolm Johnson and Dorian Williams. They know exactly what we're looking for. It's just been a great year so far. The guys are all in tune. Everybody's engaged, and the camaraderie with this team is just something special.
It really does look that way. Playing lights out in so many facets of the game. So many players can't even announce them all. But when you get your shots, go over there and check out Langston. Go read up on terms of what they're doing on both sides of the ball. Check them out on the NIA in terms of where they are, top 25. When you get a chance to see them streaming them games, get out there. With that, let me go to you, Charles, for a follow-up question to Coach Morgan.
Coach Morgan, congratulations on the win yesterday, another shutout. And I just wanted to ask this question for people that are unfamiliar with Coach Quinton Morgan or the Langston program. Talk about kind of the pillars of what you will see with the Langston football program.
When you say pillars, can you give me an example of what you're referring to?
Your philosophy. What is your philosophy in terms of how you've gone about making this a championship level program?
First and foremost, I believe in teaching my young student athletes to use the game of football, not let football use them. Okay, I truly show them that we, not just me, myself, and my staff as well. We truly care about our student athletes. I have an open door policy with each one of my kids. We have great relationships, and I've always felt like you cannot have a great team unless the head coach has a great relationship with the players, and that's basically what we do here. It's a family atmosphere. So these guys come talk to me about anything. It doesn't have to do with football and just life in general. That's our job. I'm a builder of young men, and that's what we enjoy doing. And we've been successful doing it.
DJ Jones.
Hey, Coach. What I want to say is, man, congratulations. I looked. I know the success that you've had in conference, but I think a lot of people either lose track of where your program has been and where you guys have been. But you come into the season with a 33-2 conference record, which is phenomenal. 33-8 overall, and you're a young guy. You've had so much success so early in your career. How do you keep it going? How do you keep it fresh? There at Langston, you guys are undefeated. So far this season. How do you keep it fresh and keep the kids from being complacent? Because you guys have had so much success, over the last 5 or 6 years.
You just gotta, I find flaws in everything we do because I want them to be great. I don't dwell on the good things because, as you say, people can't get complacent. Of course, I give them a pat on the back when things are done right, but there's always room to grow, and that's how we look at it. As I stated earlier, we don't believe in reading press clippings. You just got to get better each day. Take it, every day that God blesses you, man, you got to just take advantage of it. Our philosophy is to win the rep of the day. If God bless you with that opportunity, that rep, then you got to go win it, no matter what it is, whether it's football, academics. We just got to go win that rep, and that's what we do.
Win that rep. I like that, Coach. Win that rep. I'm gonna have to add that to a slogan of my own on the show. We gonna blast it out there. Win that rep. AD Drew, follow up.
First of all, Coach, I want to tell you congratulations on having the HBCU's longest win streak currently with those records, with those wins that you have on this season, because you're the only undefeated team left. Number one. Number two, you're coaching there at the NAIA level. A lot of people do not understand or know the level of competition that you have there at the NAIA level. So if you would kind of explain or break down the competition that you have on the NAIA level. And this is a little bit of a recruiting question going back into it, but how do you convince these players to come play for you at the NAIA level when the quote unquote NCAA has all the prestige?
I would say I'll answer the second question first about the NAIA level versus the NCAA level when it comes to recruiting. When you have a university like mine, I feel like we can compete against anybody when it comes to the recruiting. Because first and foremost, our leadership at the university is excellent, starting from my president, Dr. Ken Smith, on down to my athletic director, Darnita Rogers. They are great supporters. We have a beautiful campus. Our campus can compete with just about anybody. So, once we get kids onto the campus and they see the facilities and stuff like that, the recruiting process is a whole lot easier. The cost of tuition, the cost of to attend the university is always a plus as well too, and the quality of education is great there as well. So I have those things that are all those irons in the fire with Langston University, and I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I feel like I can recruit against anybody. It doesn't matter what university you are. I'll compete against OU, OSU, whoever the big dogs is in my state. It doesn't really matter. I feel like our logo is just as prestigious as anybody's.
Man, that's a statement. Coach, let's go a little deeper into that in terms of the confidence. Your team plays with a level of confidence. Obviously, they get it from you. Where did that come, and when was that instilled in you?
At a young age. My pops, his name is Ronnie Carter. He's a graduate of Alcorn State University, and at the age of 7, hard work is the company of success, and that's been something that I carry with me throughout my life. I mean, people don't know when my kids get up. Our practice is at 4:30 in the morning, so we believe in hard work around here, and that's why when we attack the field, we feel like, hey, we're battle tested, and we know how to battle through adversity. And so that's basically about it, man. Hard work is the company of success, and that's how we look at it.
Yeah, I really have a close space in my heart for Langston University. My family's from that area up there. Know a lot about Langston. I'm a member of Alpha Phi fraternity, connected with Langston University brothers up in that area. They treat you well, just like they teach a lot of the fraternities and sororities in that area. Langston is getting it done. And then you got a powerful band that supports that program as well.
Absolutely.
So as you said, when you're recruiting that area and folks don't know, if you get them onto that campus, some other folks going to be in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. And like you mentioned, our band, Dr. Mark Gordon, does a great job. I mean, our game day atmosphere is just like anyone else. And I didn't get a chance to answer about the coaching on the NAIA level and the competition. Yeah, the coaching on the NAIA level and the competition, to be totally honest with you, it's actually tough, okay? People may think because you see the NAIA logo and it's a drop in talent and stuff like that, but to be totally honest with you, it's not a drop in talent. I deal with, especially being one of the maybe like 2 or 3 HBCUs in NAIA and then being I guess a contender. So it's very difficult because everybody wants to beat you. You're going to get everybody's best game. I can have a team that haven't won a game will come out and play like the Monstars off the Space Jams if when they play against us. So it's not a cakewalk. What we're doing is not just easy. It takes a lot of preparation, a lot of hard work. We put in the hours, and that's why we've been successful. And I would be wrong to say, oh, it's just a cakewalk, and I don't go against any coaches. That's not true. Because a lot of coaches I do face have come from Division I's, and they just have made their way down to this level, and they just get content. But they are very sound and disciplined. That's one thing you have to be on this level is a very sound and disciplined. So that's why when I compete against out of conference teams, we're in the game no matter what. If you're Division I AA or whoever you are, you can have 63, I can have my 16. We're going to compete against it because we've been prepared to play disciplined and humble, to be totally honest with you.
I really appreciate you sharing that, Coach.
Yeah, Langston's one of 3 NAIA HBCUs, along with fellow conference member Texas College and Florida Memorial, who currently compete on the NAIA level in football.
Appreciate you putting that out there just for the listeners, letting them know. Coach, this is the segment we give you a chance to talk about something that we didn't ask you or a shout out that you may want to do to your fans, the Langston Lions out there.
I definitely want to give a shout out to my administration, my president, my athletic director, my president, Ken Smith Jr., my athletic director, Donita Rogers, my entire staff. I got a great group of guys that work so hard We love each other like family. My assistant head coach, Coach Calvin Miller, my offense coordinator, Darryl Mason, my co-defensive coordinator, Kevin Griffin, my run game coordinator, Coach Jonathan Carr, and my special teams coordinator, Coach Roy Moody. These guys work very, very hard, and I couldn't do what I've been doing right now, have the success that I have right now if it wasn't for these gentlemen. And I'm just grateful, and I just thank God for the opportunity that I have with this profession. And we're just looking to take it one day at a time and try to finish out the season perfectly.
Thank you, Coach Morgan. Great information. Go Lions, as we like to say at the end of our segment. We'll keep you up. You keep doing what you're doing. We'll have you back on at the end of the year, holding up one of those trophies as you tend to do so often. So continue the great work. Certainly know that you're in the grind, but we're going to make sure folks know that what you're putting out there. So we thank you for your time, Coach.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a blessing.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. That'll do it for us. You just heard it from Coach Morgan, Quinton Morgan of the Langston Lions, as they continue to get it done. The only undefeated HBCU program out there, #1 in the mid-major ranking for us. And you see why in terms of that. Hope you enjoyed that interview. That'll do it for us as we close out this hour. Check out BJ Jones. He'll come in with some more details this evening. You have AD Drew, Brian, Sports Rap. They'll be dumping some information on you this afternoon. And then obviously you Tuesday and Thursday, Charles and I will be into it, giving you the breakdown. We'll break down week 5 as we get into it. We'll give you the power rankings to let you know the top 10 programs at the major division and mid-major level. Nobody quite does it like we do it. And then on Sunday, we're going to recap and let you know what was the weekend that was and what's going forward. Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Charles, you want to get in there?
Definitely. Pre-game show. We will be at Alabama A&M next week as Jackson State gets ready to take on the Dogs in this SWAC East showdown. So definitely catch the pre-game show prior to Jackson State and Alabama A&M.
Yes, I was going to try to sneak in there and get up there with you there. That's why I was holding off on that a little bit. I was going to tease it out. But no doubt, pre-game, Charles going to pre-game it as they do it in so many ways. Thank you for listening Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. DJ Jones, any last thoughts that you want to share some information where they need to catch you up?
Oh, yeah, man. Tonight, man, Inside HBCU football, man. We'll be going at 8 p.m. Central Time, man. Got a few guests, man, looking really at the games that we had this past weekend. Also, looking ahead to next weekend and how this road to the SWAC Championship and Celebration Bowl will be paid. So we'll be talking a little bit about that Jackson State Alabama A&M game next week on the Hill. Homecoming for the Bulldogs.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Thank you for the invite, Huntsville.
I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Again, this Sunday edition, we have BJ Jones and AD Drew. Drew, did you want to say anything as we close?
I believe next week I'm slotted to do the play-by-play for the Savannah State game on next Saturday. So I plan on being in Savannah as of right now. Brian and I will be on later on this evening, and the first rankings will be coming out for HBCU. So let's see what the computers think of all these wins and upsets over this past weekend. And my last one, who'd have thunk it that next week's game between Valley and Bethune, Valley would be the team coming in with the win and Bethune would be the winless team going into that game?
I wouldn't. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson, Charles Bishop, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock, every Sunday at 9 with this team right here. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. That's DrKenyattacavil. That's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So we look forward to you next week as we discuss the latest in the news in the lab. Shout out to all the lab lecture listeners out there. We appreciate you going deep with us. Inside HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter, Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and YouTube. Like, subscribe. Let's do it. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
DJ?
Lecture.
AD?
Dismissed.